The invisible woman. Maya Torres pushed her cleaning cart down the marble hallway of Crimson Tower, her footsteps echoing in the empty silence. It was 2 a.m., the hour when the building belonged only to her, and the ghosts of ambition left behind by the day workers. She was 28 years old, invisible to everyone who passed her in daylight, and tired in a way that sleep could never fix. She sprayed cleaner on the glass doors leading to the executive suites. Her reflection stared back at her, dark circles under brown eyes, black hair pulled into a messy bun, the cheap uniform hanging loose on her thin frame. This was her life. Night shift janitor. Alone. Forgotten. But the dreams wouldn't let her forget something. Every night for the past month, she dreamed of a castle made of black stone. A woman's voice called her name, except it wasn't Maya. It was another name, beautiful and ancient, that dissolved like smoke the moment she woke up. In the dreams, she wore silk gowns instead of a janitor's uniform. She commanded armies. She loved someone so deeply it felt like her chest would crack open. And always she burned. Maya touched the mark on her left wrist, hidden beneath her sleeve. It had appeared on her 18th birthday, a burn scar in the shape of a phoenix with wings spread wide. No doctors could explain it. No treatment could remove it. She'd learned to hide it. Just another secret in a life full of them. Tonight something felt different. The air hummed with electricity. Her mark tingled beneath the fabric, warm and insistent. Maya finished the executive floor and headed toward the elevator. That's when she noticed it. A button she'd never seen before. At the very top of the panel above the 50th floor was an unmarked black button that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Her finger hovered over it. Every logical part of her brain screamed to leave it alone. But the mark on her wrist burned hotter, pulling her forward like a compass needle to magnetic north. She pressed the button. The elevator lurched upward, climbing past the 50th floor into darkness. The numbers on the display vanished, replaced by strange symbols that looked like ancient writing. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. The cart rattled beside her. Up into impossible heights. The doors opened with a soft chime. Hashtag the encounter. Maya stepped into a penthouse that shouldn't exist. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the city glittering 50 stories below, but the room itself looked pulled from another century. Dark wood panels lined the walls. Ancient tapestries depicted battles between creatures with fangs and wings. A fireplace crackled with flames that burned blue instead of orange. And standing by the window, watching the city with the stillness of a statue, was a man who stole her breath. He was tall, dressed in a black suit that looked hand-tailored for his frame. His hair was dark as midnight, pulled back from a face so beautiful it seemed carved by an artist who understood both cruelty and grace. But it was his eyes that stopped her heart. They were crimson, deep, impossible red that glowed faintly in the firelight. He turned to face her, and his expression shattered from calm to shock in an instant. "Serafina," he breathed, the word breaking like prayer. Maya stumbled backward, her cart crashing into the wall. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't be here. I don't know how I—" "Your eyes," he interrupted, moving toward her with fluid grace that didn't look quite human. "Your face. After 500 years, you've come back to me." "I'm Maya," she said, pressing against the wall. "My name is Maya Torres. I'm just a janitor. I clean buildings. I don't know who Serafina is." He stopped 3 feet away, studying her with an intensity that made her skin burn. "You don't remember." His voice carried centuries of pain. "Of course you don't. The curse ensures you never do." "Please," Maya whispered. "I need to leave." "Look at me," he commanded, and something in his voice made it impossible to disobey. "I am Lord Damien Ashford. 500 years ago, you were Serafina Ravencroft, the most powerful vampire advisor to ever serve the High Council. And you were my wife." Maya laughed, a broken sound. "Vampires aren't real." Damien smiled, and his canines extended into sharp points. "Aren't they?" The room spun. Maya's knees buckled, but Damien caught her before she hit the floor. His touch sent electricity through her skin, familiar and terrifying. For just a moment she saw it. A flash of memory that wasn't hers. Dancing in a ballroom lit by 1,000 candles. His hand on her waist. his lips whispering promises against her ear. "No," she gasped, pushing away. "This isn't real." "Your wrist," Damien said quietly. "Show me your left wrist." Maya's hand trembled as she pulled back her sleeve. The phoenix mark blazed like it was on fire, glowing with golden light that filled the dark room. Damien's expression crumbled. He fell to his knees before her, a lord bowing to his queen. "The phoenix seal," he whispered. "You are Seraphina. You've finally come home. ####the truth unveiled." Maya let Damien help her to a leather sofa. He poured her whiskey from a crystal decanter, his movements careful, as if she might disappear if he moved too fast. She drank it in one burning swallow, needing the courage. "Tell me," she demanded. "Tell me everything." Damien sat across from her, crimson eyes never leaving her face. "The vampire world exists in the shadows of yours. We've lived alongside humans for millennia, hiding in plain sight. I was born in 1523, turned vampire in 1548. I was wild then, angry, drunk on immortal power." He paused, lost in memory. "Then I met you, Seraphina. You were the council's youngest advisor, brilliant and fierce. You believed vampires could evolve beyond mindless hunting. You dreamed of a world where we coexisted with humans, protected them instead of preying on them. And you fell in love," Maya whispered, the story feeling true even though she couldn't remember it. "We fell in love," Damien corrected. "Against every law, every tradition. I was considered corrupted because I refused to kill humans for sport. You were the council's golden child. Our love was forbidden, but we couldn't stop it any more than we could stop breathing." His voice went cold. "The council discovered us. They called it treason. The punishment for a council member loving a corrupted vampire was death. But not just any death." Maya's mark burned hotter. "What did they do?" "They performed a ritual in front of the entire vampire court. They bound your soul to the wheel of forgetting. Every time you died, you'd be reborn human with no memory of your past lives. You'd live, grow old, die, and be reborn again. Forever. I'd have to watch you live and die over and over, never remembering me, never remembering us." Tears streamed down Maya's face. "How many times?" 12, Damien said, his voice breaking. "You've lived 12 lifetimes. I found you in 7 of them. Each time you die before your 30th birthday. Each time I lose you again." "Why?" Maya demanded. "Why curse me? Why not just kill me?" "Because the council's leader, Lysandra, wanted me to suffer. She loved me, you see. Had loved me for centuries. When she learned about us, she didn't just want you dead. She wanted me tortured for eternity, watching the woman I loved live and die without ever knowing who I was." ####the prophecy. Damien stood and walked to an ancient tapestry hanging on the wall. It showed a woman wreathed in flames, her hands raised toward a crumbling castle. Vampires knelt before her, some in worship, some in terror. "There's a prophecy," Damien said, "written the night they cursed you." Seraphina's final words before the ritual took hold. He recited it like scripture. "When the forgotten queen returns with the phoenix seal awakened, she will burn the old world to ash and forge a new dawn. The corrupt shall fall. The innocent shall rise. And love will be the flame that consumes all fear." Maya joined him at the tapestry, staring at the burning woman. "That's supposed to be me? Your mark is the phoenix seal. It appears when your soul begins to remember. In your other lives it showed up but never awakened. It stayed dormant, and you died before the memories could return." His hand hovered near her wrist, not quite touching. "But this time it's glowing. This time you're awakening." "How long do I have?" Maya asked. 30 days. Maybe less. Your memories will flood back, violent and overwhelming. The power you had as Seraphina will return. And when the council learns you're awakening, they'll kill me again," Maya finished. "They'll try." Damien finally met her eyes. "But I won't let them. Not this time. Not ever again." Maya looked at her glowing mark, then at this impossible man who claimed to have loved her through 500 years and 12 lifetimes. Everything rational told her to run. But something deeper, something ancient sleeping in her bones, whispered that she was finally waking up. "I don't remember you," she said quietly. I don't remember any of it. Right now I'm just Maya Torres, night janitor who lives in a studio apartment and eats ramen for dinner. I'm nobody. Damien took her hand gently, his thumb brushing over the phoenix seal. You were never nobody, Maya. Not in any lifetime. You were a queen who tried to change the world. And I think, his smile was sad and hopeful, you're about to do it again. #### the choice. Maya sat in her tiny apartment as dawn broke over the city. She hadn't slept. Couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw flashes of another life. A castle. A council chamber. Damien's face younger but the same, leaning close to kiss her in a shadowed corridor. Her phone buzzed. A text from her manager. You didn't clock out last night. Everything okay? She stared at the message. Her normal life, her safe life, balanced on the edge of a knife. She could pretend last night never happened. Keep cleaning buildings. Keep being invisible. Or she could step into the fire. Her mark pulsed with warmth, and suddenly Maya was somewhere else. A memory crystal clear. She stood in a grand hall, wearing a gown of midnight blue. The vampire council sat in a semicircle of thrones, their eyes glowing in the darkness. And she, Serafina, spoke with a voice that commanded attention. We are not monsters, Serafina declared. We are immortal, yes. Powerful, yes. But we are not mindless beasts. I propose a new law. We take only from those who volunteer. We protect human communities instead of hunting them. We evolve or we deserve to fall. The council erupted in fury. All except one woman with silver hair and cold eyes. Lysandra. She smiled like a snake. Such pretty words, Serafina. But I wonder, would you still preach mercy if we knew your secret? If we knew about the corrupted lord you've been meeting in the shadows? The memory shattered. Maya gasped, back in her apartment, her heart racing. That was her. She'd been brave. She'd fought for change. And they'd killed her for it. Her phone buzzed again. This time an unknown number. The council knows you're awakening. You have 3 days before they send hunters. Come to Crimson Tower tonight. We prepare for war. D. Maya looked around her apartment. Thrift store furniture. Peeling paint. A half-eaten cup of ramen on the counter. This was safety. This was invisible. But she was tired of being invisible. She picked up her phone and typed, I'm coming. And this time I'm not dying. This time they burn. Maya Torres looked at her reflection in the bathroom mirror. The phoenix mark glowed steady and bright. She smiled, and for just a moment, she saw another face overlaid on hers. Serafina. Beautiful, fierce, unafraid. Hello, Maya whispered to her past self. Let's finish what we started. The prophecy had begun. The forgotten queen was awakening. And the vampire world would never be the same. ## Part 2. The Burning Truth, 2,000 words. ## Memories like fire. The transformation hit Maya like a train 3 nights later. She was walking through Crimson Tower's underground parking garage when her knees buckled. The concrete rushed up to meet her. Pain exploded through her skull, white-hot and merciless. She screamed but no sound came out. Memories poured through her mind like lava, burning away the walls she'd built between lifetimes. She was Serafina at 17, the night she first saw a vampire feed. The horror. The fascination. She was Serafina at 25, taking her oath before the council, swearing to serve justice and protect the vampire nation. She was Serafina at 30, meeting Damien in a moonlit garden. His shy smile. His gentle hands. The way he looked at her like she was the only real thing in a world of shadows. Their first kiss tasted like wine and danger. Their first night together felt like coming home to a place she didn't know she'd been missing. I shouldn't love you, Serafina whispered against his chest. I know, Damien replied, his fingers tracing patterns on her bare shoulder. But you do. Yes, she breathed. God help me, I do. The memories kept coming faster now, each one more vivid. She remembered council meetings where she argued for reform. She remembered Lysandra's cold smiles, the way the older vampire watched her with calculating eyes. She remembered writing the coexistence treaty in secret, a document that would revolutionize how vampires and humans interacted. And she remembered the night everything fell apart. Hashtag betrayal revealed. The memory burned brightest and cruelest. Serafina stood in her private chambers, sealing the coexistence treaty in a silver case. Tomorrow, she'd present it to the council. Tomorrow everything would change. She was so focused she didn't hear the door open. Working late, sister? Serafina spun. Lysandra stood in the doorway, still wearing her ceremonial robes from that evening's session. They'd been friends once. Lysandra had mentored her, guided her rise through council ranks. But something had shifted in recent months. The warmth had drained from Lysandra's eyes, replaced by something sharp and hungry. Just preparing tomorrow's presentation, Serafina said carefully. Lysandra glided closer, her movements predatory. Your treaty. Your grand vision. Tell me, does Lord Damien approve of your plans? The air froze. I don't know what you mean. Don't you? Lysandra's smile was cruel. Did you really think I wouldn't notice? The way you slip away after council sessions. The way you smell of him. The way you light up when someone mentions the corrupted lords. Serafina's hand went to the dagger on her belt. Lysandra. I loved him first. Lysandra interrupted, her voice cracking with centuries of pain. Before you were even born, I loved Damien Ashford. I watched him for 300 years waiting for him to see me. And then you arrived, little Serafina, so bright and hopeful. And he looked at you the way he never looked at me. I didn't know, Serafina whispered. Of course you didn't. Lysandra's eyes blazed red. You never looked beyond your own righteousness. You never saw how much I sacrificed, how much I endured. But I see everything, Serafina. Including your little treaty. She held up a copy of the document. Coexistence with humans? Voluntary feeding only? You'd make us into pets, into guardians for creatures that should be our prey. And all because you fell in love with a vampire too weak to embrace what he is. It's not weakness, Serafina argued, her voice rising. It's evolution. We're not animals, Lysandra. We're capable of more than hunting and killing. We could be. Enough. Lysandra's power slammed into her like a physical blow. Serafina crashed into the wall, her head cracking against stone. Guards poured through the door, 12 of them, all loyal to Lysandra. Through blurring vision, Serafina watched Lysandra tear up the treaty. You've committed treason, Serafina Ravencroft. The penalty is death. But not just any death. I'm going to make Damien watch you die. And then I'm going to ensure you suffer forever. Every lifetime. Every breath. Until you understand what you took from me. The memory shifted, became the ritual. Serafina bound in silver chains. The council assembled. Damien fighting against magical restraints, screaming her name. And Lysandra's voice chanting the curse that would trap her soul in an endless cycle of forgetting. But in those final moments, before the curse took hold, Serafina had gathered every ounce of power she possessed. She'd burned it into her soul, creating the Phoenix Seal. A mark that would survive death. A promise that one day she'd return. And when she did, she'd burn everything to the ground. Maya came back to herself screaming. She was still in the parking garage, but she wasn't alone. Damien knelt beside her, his hands on her shoulders, his face tight with worry. Maya, breathe. You're safe. You're here. She betrayed me, Maya gasped. Lysandra. She was supposed to be my friend, my mentor, and she killed me because I loved you. Damien's expression crumbled. You remember. Everything. Maya's voice shook with rage. I remember the treaty I wrote. I remember the lives I wanted to save. I remember her ripping it all apart because she loved you and I had you instead. She looked at her hands. They were glowing faint flames dancing across her skin without burning. And I remember what I did in those final seconds. The Phoenix Seal wasn't just a mark, Damien. It was a weapon. Hashtag powers awakening. Over the next week, Maya discovered exactly what kind of weapon she'd become. The power hid in waves, each one stronger than the last. She could move faster than human eyes could track. She could hear conversations happening 3 floors away. She could feel the life force of every creature within 100 yards. But the fire was what scared her. It happened first when a vampire attacked her outside her apartment. One of the council's hunters, sent to eliminate her before she fully awakened. He came at her with silver claws extended, moving with centuries of killing experience. Maya's body reacted on instinct. Flames exploded from her hands, white-hot and pure. The vampire screamed as fire consumed him, reducing him to ash in seconds. Maya stared at her smoking hands, horrified and exhilarated. "That's impossible," she whispered. But it kept happening. When she felt angry, flames danced across her skin. When she focused, she could control it, shape it into weapons or shields. Fire that didn't burn her but consumed everything else. Damien took her to his hidden sanctuary beneath Crimson Tower, a training room carved from ancient stone. "You're not just Seraphina reborn," he explained, watching her summon flames with a thought. "You're something new. Each lifetime you lived added to your soul's strength. Human resilience. Human determination. You died 12 times, Maya, and each death made you stronger." "So what am I?" Maya asked, staring at the fire in her palms. "A hybrid," Damien said with something like awe. "Vampire power. Human will. Phoenix magic. You're the thing Lysandra feared when she cursed you. You're the revolution she tried to prevent." Maya closed her fist, extinguishing the flames. "Good. Because I'm going to use every bit of it to burn her world down." ##### The council attacks. The attack came at dawn, when they thought she'd be weakest. Maya was sleeping in Damien's penthouse when the windows exploded inward. 12 vampire assassins poured through, armed with silver and magic. They moved like a coordinated death squad, taking positions to surround the bed. Maya rolled off the mattress as the first blade stabbed through the pillow where her head had been. She came up with flames already blazing around her hands. "The council sends their regards," the lead assassin hissed. "You died today, false queen." "False." Maya smiled, and it was all Seraphina's fury. "Let me show you what a real queen looks like." She unleashed hell. Fire exploded from her in a wave, forcing the assassins back. She moved through them like a dancer, each movement precise and deadly. Her fist connected with one vampire's chest, and flames burrowed through his ribcage, turning his heart to ash. She spun, grabbing another by the throat, and watched him burn from the inside out. They were fast. She was faster. They were strong. She was stronger. They were killers. She was vengeance itself. Within 90 seconds, 11 assassins lay dead. The 12th, the leader, stood frozen with terror. Maya walked toward him slowly, flames trailing behind her like wings. "Tell Lysandra something for me," Maya said softly. "Tell her Seraphina remembers. Tell her the Phoenix Queen is coming. And tell her when I arrive, I'm going to burn her precious council to ash." She let him go. Let him run back to Lysandra with fear in his heart. Let them know she was awake, she was powerful, and she was coming for them. Damien appeared in the doorway, having fought off another wave of attackers in the lower floors. He stared at the carnage, then at Maya standing in the center of it, wreathed in dying flames. "You're glorious," he breathed. "I'm angry," Maya corrected. "And I'm done hiding." #### Love rekindled, purpose forged. They cleaned up the bodies in silence, burning them until nothing remained but ash. As dawn turned to morning, Maya stood by the windows, watching the city wake up below. Somewhere out there, humans were going to work, living their normal lives, unaware of the war brewing in the shadows. Damien joined her, 2 cups of coffee in hand. He offered her one. The gesture was so normal, so human, it made her heart ache. "I remember loving you," Maya said quietly. "Seraphina loved you with everything she had. But I'm not just her anymore, Damien. I'm also Maya Torres, janitor who lived 12 ordinary lives. I'm all of them and none of them." "I know," Damien replied. "You've changed. You're stronger than Seraphina ever was. More focused. More dangerous. Does that scare you?" "Terrifies me." He smiled. "And it's exactly what we need." Maya turned to face him. "I loved you across 500 years. Across 12 lifetimes. That's true. But I need you to understand something. This isn't about winning you back. This isn't about revenge for a murdered wife. This is bigger." Her eyes blazed with purpose. "Lysandra didn't just kill me. She's been corrupting the council for centuries, using our laws to justify vampire superiority. She's orchestrating a genocide against humans, Damien. I see it in the memories. The hunting quota's increasing. The human territory shrinking. She's preparing for war. Damien's expression darkened. I've suspected for decades, but I had no proof. I'm your proof. Maya set down her coffee and took his hand. We're going to stop her. Not just for us. For every human living in fear. For every vampire who's tired of being a monster. We're going to burn the corrupt council to ash and build something better. A revolution, Damien said. The revolution I tried to start 500 years ago. Maya squeezed his hand. But this time I'm not asking for permission. This time, I'm not the council's obedient advisor. This time, I'm the Phoenix Queen, and I'm taking what should have been mine. She pulled him close, kissing him with all the passion of their past lives, and all the determination of her present one. When they broke apart, both were breathless. I love you, Damien whispered. Every version of you. Maya. Serafina. Whoever you become next. I love all of it. Then help me burn the world, Maya replied. And when the ashes settle, we'll build something worthy of that love. Outside, storm clouds gathered over the city. Maya felt them in her bones, felt the magic responding to her power. The phoenix seal burned bright on her wrist, no longer hidden, no longer dormant. The prophecy had said she'd burn the old world. Everyone thought it meant destruction. But as Maya stood there, planning the revolution that would change everything, she understood the truth. Sometimes the only way to save something is to let it burn. And from the ashes, something new and beautiful can rise. The Phoenix Queen was awake. The war for the vampire world soul had begun. And Maya Torres, the forgotten janitor, was going to remind them all what happens when you underestimate the invisible. ## Part 3. The Phoenix Queen's Revenge, 2,000 words. ## Gathering allies. Maya spent the next 2 weeks doing what Serafina never had time to do, building an army. She started in the places vampires ignored, the corrupted ones. Vampires who refused to kill humans for sport. Vampires who'd been exiled, hunted, marked as weak by the council's pure blood laws. She found them in the shadows of the city, hiding in plain sight, working human jobs, trying to survive without becoming monsters. The first was Marcus, a vampire who ran a blood donation clinic, taking only from willing donors who understood what he was. He'd been sentenced to death by the council 20 years ago, and had been living in hiding ever since. Maya found him closing up his clinic at midnight. Marcus Reeves, she said, stepping from the shadows. The council wants you dead. I want you alive. Marcus spun, fangs extended, ready to fight. Then he saw the mark on her wrist, glowing in the darkness. The Phoenix Seal, he breathed. The prophecy is happening, Maya finished. I'm Serafina Ravencroft, reborn and ready to burn the council to ash. I need vampires who remember what it means to have honor, who understand we don't have to be monsters. Are you one of them? Marcus stared at her for a long moment. Then he knelt. My queen. I've waited 2 decades for someone to challenge the council. Tell me how to help. She found 17 more like him. Elena, who ran a shelter for homeless humans and fed only from those who asked for her protection. David, who worked as a paramedic and used his abilities to save lives instead of take them. Sophia, who'd been cast out for refusing to turn her human wife into a vampire against her will. They met in an abandoned subway station beneath the city, this strange army of outcasts and rebels. Maya stood before them, Damien at her side, and spoke with Serafina's voice and Maya's conviction. For 500 years, the council has told us we're predators. Superior. That humans are nothing but prey. She let flames dance across her hands. I'm here to tell you they're wrong. We're not better than humans. We're just different. And difference doesn't demand domination. It demands coexistence. The council will never accept that, Marcus said. They'll kill us all. Then we kill them first, Maya replied coldly. Not the vampires who follow orders out of fear. Not the ones who can be saved. But the council itself. The corrupt core that's been poisoning our world for centuries. We cut out the rot, and we build something better. Elena stood. You're talking about revolution. About civil war. I'm talking about evolution, Maya corrected. Change or die. Those are the only options left. So I'm asking you to choose. Stand with me and we have a chance. Kneel to the council. And watch them start a genocide that will destroy both our worlds. One by one they stood. One by one, they pledged themselves to the Phoenix Queen. By the end of the night, Maya had her army. Small but fierce. Determined and ready to burn. #### infiltrating the council. The council headquarters stood in the heart of the city, disguised as a historic museum. Tourists walked through during the day, snapping pictures of ancient artifacts, unaware that beneath their feet lay the true seat of vampire power. Maya returned to what she did best. She put on her janitor's uniform, pulled her hair back, and became invisible again. The guard at the service entrance didn't look twice at her ID badge, forged by Elena, who'd once been a master of documentation before her exile. Night shift? The guard asked, bored. Floors need waxing, Maya replied with practiced exhaustion. Third time this week. He waved her through. Just another janitor. Just another nobody. Maya pushed her cart through the museum's public areas, cleaning glass cases and mopping floors. But with each pass, she pressed her hand against stone pillars and marble walls, leaving behind tiny marks that glowed faint gold before fading invisible. Phoenix marks. Seeds of fire waiting to bloom. She worked her way deeper into the building, past the velvet ropes marking employee-only areas, down staircases that led to older, darker levels. The museum was just a mask. Beneath it lay the council's true chambers, carved from stone that predated human civilization. That's where she planted the most powerful marks. On the pillars holding up the ancient throne room. On the walls of the chambers where they'd cursed her 500 years ago. On the floor where she died. By 4 a.m., she'd marked every critical support in the structure. One word from her, and the entire building would become an inferno. A phoenix egg waiting to hatch. As she headed toward the exit, a voice stopped her cold. You've gotten sloppy, Serafina. Maya turned slowly. Lysandra stood in the corridor, still beautiful, still cold. Her silver hair pulled back to reveal a face that hadn't aged a day in 500 years. She wore a black gown that looked like liquid shadow, and her eyes glowed with ancient power. I know you've been planting marks, Lysandra continued, moving closer. Did you really think I wouldn't feel your magic? You were my student once. I know your signature better than my own. Maya dropped the janitor's persona like a shed skin. She straightened, and when she spoke, it was with a queen's authority.